NASA has the most detailed images of the interstellar object Atlas ever taken, and they refuse to release them. For 4 weeks now, the scientific community has been asking, demanding, pleading for access to photographs that could answer critical questions about the most anomalous object ever detected in our solar system. Images that are 3 times better resolution than anything publicly available. Images taken from a unique perspective that could reveal the true nature of this mysterious visitor. And NASA remains silent. What are they hiding? Why won't they release scientific data that belongs to the global research community? And why did it take a Harvard astrophysicist going on the world's biggest podcast and a U.S. Congresswoman writing a formal letter just to try to get these images released? Something is very wrong here. And today we're going to talk about what NASA doesn't want you to see. Let's start with what we know. On October 2nd and 3rd, 2025, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, a NASA spacecraft in orbit around Mars, captured images of Atlas as it passed within 30 million kilometers of the red planet. The spacecraft's HiRise camera, the high-resolution imaging science experiment, is one of the most powerful cameras ever sent to another planet. HiRise captured Atlas with a spatial resolution of 30 kilometers per pixel. To understand how significant that is, the best publicly available image we have of Atlas comes from the Hubble Space Telescope, taken on July 21, 2025. Hubble is arguably the most famous telescope in history, responsible for some of the most iconic astronomical images ever captured. And the HiRise images are 3 times better resolution than Hubble, 3 times sharper, 3 times more detailed, 3 times more capable of revealing the true structure and nature of this object. But there's more. The Hubble image was taken from an edge-on perspective. From Earth's vantage point on July 21st, we were looking at Atlas almost directly along the line between Earth and the Sun, separated by only about 10 degrees. This geometry limits what we can see, limits our ability to understand the 3-dimensional structure of the object and its surrounding coma. The HiRise images offer a completely different perspective, a sideways view as Atlas approached the Sun. This angle is scientifically invaluable for understanding the geometry of mass loss, the distribution of material around the nucleus, and the glow or brightness patterns that could reveal whether we're looking at natural sublimation or something else entirely. These images could answer fundamental questions. Is there a massive cloud of gas consistent with natural outgassing? Does the brightness distribution suggest a solid nucleus or something more complex? Are there geometric patterns or structures that shouldn't exist in a natural comet? The scientific community needs these images. Astronomers are planning follow-up observations in November and December, observations that would be far more effective if they knew what the HiRise images revealed. Time-sensitive data requires timely release. Every day of delay makes future observations less valuable. So why hasn't NASA released them? The official explanation is the government shutdown on October 1, 2025. NASA claims that administrative delays resulting from the shutdown prevented the data from being processed and released in a timely manner. But here's the problem with that explanation. The shutdown happened on October 1st. The images were captured on October 2nd and 3rd. We're now 4 weeks past that date. The government didn't stay shut down for a month. So why are these images still unavailable? Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, former chair of the astronomy department and one of the most prominent voices in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has been publicly requesting these images for weeks. He's written about them in his blog posts. He's mentioned them in scientific papers. He's asked NASA directly. Nothing. Then, just days ago, Loeb appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience, one of the most watched podcasts in the world with millions of listeners. During the interview, he discussed Atlas and specifically mentioned NASA's refusal to release the HiRise images. When Joe Rogan asked Loeb about it and whether the delay might indicate something significant in the images, something NASA doesn't want the public to see, Loeb gave a response that's both diplomatic and devastating. He said, and I quote, "The delay is probably not a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence, but rather of terrestrial stupidity." Terrestrial stupidity. Those are strong words from one of the world's leading astrophysicists. He's not accusing NASA of a conspiracy to hide alien technology. He's accusing them of something potentially worse, bureaucratic incompetence that's holding science hostage to political dysfunction. Loeb continued, "We should not hold science hostage to the shutdown politics of the day. The scientific community would have greatly benefited from the dissemination of this time-sensitive data as astronomers plan follow-up observations in the coming months." But here's where it gets interesting. Conspiracy theorists, and honestly, many scientists as well, are asking a different question. What if the delay isn't stupidity? What if there's something in those images that NASA isn't ready to release? Think about what we know about Atlas. 9 statistical anomalies with combined odds of 1 in 10 quadrillion, trajectory aligned with our planetary disk, composition resembling industrial alloys, arrival from the WOW signal direction, non-gravitational acceleration at perihelion, blue coloration when it should be red. Every new measurement makes the mystery deeper. Every observation adds another anomaly that challenges natural explanations. So what if HiRise, with 3 times better resolution than Hubble, from a unique sideways angle, captured something that NASA isn't prepared to explain? What if the images show geometric structures? What if they show brightness patterns inconsistent with natural sublimation? What if they show something that simply shouldn't exist on a natural comet? NASA has a long history of being extremely cautious about anything related to potential extraterrestrial intelligence. They know the public reaction to any suggestion of alien technology would be enormous. They know the scrutiny that would follow. They know the political and social implications. Is it really hard to believe that, faced with images that might show something unprecedented, they would choose delay over immediate release? That they would want time to analyze, to consult, to prepare explanations before opening the data to public scrutiny? Now, to be fair, we don't know what's in those images. Maybe they show exactly what you'd expect from a natural comet, a fuzzy blob with a diffuse coma. Maybe NASA's explanation is genuine and this really is just bureaucratic delay. But the fact that it took Joe Rogan's platform, with millions of listeners, and the intervention of a U.S. Congresswoman, just to try to get scientific data released, tells you something is deeply wrong with how this is being handled. Following Loeb's appearance on Rogan, he corresponded with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna regarding a formal request to NASA. Representative Luna, recognizing the importance of this data and the irregularity of the delay, wrote what Loeb describes as a brilliant letter to NASA's acting administrator Sean Duffy. Think about that for a moment. It required a member of the United States Congress to formally request that NASA release scientific data that should have been public weeks ago. This isn't how science is supposed to work. This isn't how transparent government institutions are supposed to operate. The involvement of Congress signals that this isn't just an academic dispute. This is now a matter of government accountability and scientific transparency. When elected representatives have to intervene to get a government agency to release observational data, something has gone fundamentally wrong. So what happens next? We wait, we watch, and we demand transparency. If NASA releases the HiRise images in the coming days or weeks, we'll analyze them, we'll see what they show, we'll understand why there was a delay, whether it was truly bureaucratic dysfunction or something more deliberate. If they continue to withhold the data, If they continue to stonewall requests from scientists and ignore formal inquiries from Congress, then we have to ask much harder questions about what they're trying to hide. The scientific community deserves access to this data. The global public deserves transparency about an object passing through our solar system with properties that challenge everything we thought we knew about interstellar visitors. And if there's even a possibility that we're looking at something artificial, something from another civilization, then humanity deserves to know. This is not about conspiracy theories. This is about scientific transparency and government accountability. NASA receives billions of dollars in public funding. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter was built with taxpayer money. The data it collects belongs to the scientific community and ultimately to the public. Withholding that data, for any reason other than genuine security concerns, is unacceptable. Avi Loeb put it perfectly when he called this terrestrial stupidity. Whether that stupidity is bureaucratic incompetence or deliberate obstruction doesn't really matter. The result is the same. Critical scientific data is being held hostage while astronomers try to plan observations, and the global community tries to understand what Atlas really is. We are now in early November. Atlas passed Mars over a month ago. The images exist. They've been captured. They're sitting on NASA servers somewhere. The question is simple: when will they be released, and what will they show? Here's what we know is coming. On December 19th, Atlas makes its closest approach to Earth. Hundreds of telescopes will observe it. The Hubble Space Telescope will capture new images. The James Webb Space Telescope will analyze its thermal signature and composition. Ground-based observatories will track its exact trajectory. All of those observations would be more effective, more targeted, more scientifically valuable if astronomers knew what the HiRise images revealed. Every day of delay makes December's observations less optimal, so we're putting NASA on notice. The scientific community is watching. Congress is asking questions, and the global public is paying attention. Release the HiRise images. Show us what you captured on October 2nd and 3rd. Let scientists analyze the data. Let the peer review process work as it's supposed to. And if there's something in those images that challenges conventional explanations, if there's something that suggests Atlas might be more than a natural comet, then have the courage to be transparent about it. Have the courage to let science follow the data wherever it leads. We'll be watching for NASA's response. We'll be monitoring for any statement, any data release, any explanation for why the most detailed images of the most anomalous object ever detected are being withheld from the scientific community. And when those images are finally released, whether it's tomorrow or next week or next month, we'll bring you the analysis. We'll show you what they reveal. We'll discuss what it means. Until then, the question remains, what is NASA hiding about Atlas, and why won't they let us see what they've seen? Stay tuned. We'll update you the moment NASA responds. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because when those HiRise images are finally released, you'll want to know immediately what they show. The mystery continues. The questions multiply, and NASA's silence speaks volumes.